Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for swinging by. I sure do appreciate it. If this is your first time with the channel, my name is Mark.
Oh, hi Mark.
Welcome to Fit and Fire. Let's get into this video. This time we're going to be talking about my top 5 pistols under $500. And this list is probably not necessarily all inclusive. I'm sure there's a lot of other pistols out there that may need to be on this list, and we might revisit this in the future, not only when I have an opportunity to get some experience with other pistols, maybe some new pistols that come on down the road or whatever the case may be, because spoiler alert, there's one in here that needs to be on the list, but it just hasn't made it to the list yet because I don't have one in my hands. But the question may be, why $500? And I think that this is a good starting point for a lot of people who are maybe new or inexperienced with firearms. They buy something fairly inexpensive to get used to, take to the range, and they don't have to worry about beating it up because it's fairly inexpensive, and then they can graduate to something a little bit more expensive. That could be one aspect to it. The other aspect is, right now with the way the economy's going, inflation's rampant, the dollar just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. There are people out there that just don't have the money to expend $600, $700, $800 on a pistol. So these might be viable options to cut some corners and have a good pistol for a decent price. I understand that there's a lot of people out there that says that, hey, just buy once, cry once, and be done with it. But I also understand that there are individuals that either don't have the time to save money to do that, or B, just don't have the ability to save money to do that as well. Now, anytime someone comes to me and asks, my recommendation for a pistol, I'm always going to answer that question with more questions. Like, what is the pistol going to be used for? Is it going to be a concealed carry pistol, home defense, take it to the range every once in a while to plink, competition pistol? What is it going to be used for, and what are some of the features that you need it to have for it to function for you correctly? In addition to that, what's your budget? Do you have money set aside for ammunition and training? So on and so forth. So there's a long list of questions that I need someone to answer before I can give my recommendation. These are going to be some of the pistols that I would put on that list for someone who's looking for something under $500. Okay. Before we get into the video any further, let me ask you guys, have you signed up for the Fit and Fire newsletter? If you haven't, I have a link in the pinned comment down below, and I'd encourage you guys to do that, because not only am I going to share with you guys some cool links on great deals for ammunition, firearms accessories, but I'm also going to have a list of instructors and training opportunities throughout the country for the next couple of months. And I'd encourage you guys to jump in and sign up for it. In addition to that, I do a monthly giveaway as well, and I'd encourage you guys to get on board and be a part of that as well. So again, link in the pinned comment. I'd really appreciate that, and I'd appreciate you guys considering subscribing to the channel, giving me a thumbs up, and commenting down below. My question to you is, what is your top 5 pistols under $500? Let's see if our list kind of marries up. Okay, let's get into it. The very first pistol that we're going to be talking about is one that just released not too long ago. It's been about maybe the last 2 years, and that is going to be the PSA Dagger. Now, this is Palmetto State Armory's version of the Glock 19 Gen 3, and they've done a number of different upgrades to this pistol to make it a little bit better than the original. In my opinion, even though it has a lot of the same features that a Glock does, it's kind of its own pistol. It's going to have steel sights right from the manufacturer, front and rear slide serrations. This particular model is going to come in right around that $300 mark, but for an additional $100, coming in right around $400, you can get one that has an optics cut, and you can get one that has an optics cut with the rear sight behind it or in front, and that's something I thought that was really cool as well. In addition to that, you can buy just the frames, just the complete frames, or you can buy just the slides. So you have a lot of flexibility with this pistol to get it exactly the way that you want it, and that's one of the reasons why it's on this list, and why I like it so much. Again, I have it at number 5 because it's still fairly new, and I'm sure it needs some of the bugs to get worked out as they move on down the line, probably with a Gen 2 or a Gen 3, but more to see, more to come on that. Really do like PSA and everything that they do. All right, so the next pistol is one that floats underneath the radar, and that's going to be the Beretta APX. This is a really interesting pistol, not only aesthetically, but in the fact that this was Beretta's offering for the M17 MHS program. A lot of people don't know that, but this is a really, really cool pistol, and one that I actually do like, which is why it's on the list. But the pistol itself has some interesting aesthetics with these kind of what I call reverse slide serrations. Some people don't really like it, but I actually do. It has a really nice grip texture on here. I would like to see that grip texture a little bit higher on this frame, but that's okay. And then it has a really good trigger as well. So here's your take up, not much take up at all. There's your brake, and then your reset is pretty short, tactile, audible, and there's your brake again. So this is a really, really nice pistol that comes in right around $350 if you buy this version of it. You can find some of the subcompacts and the subcompact APX Centurion, I think. Those hover right around that $500 mark. So that is another option as well. But I will say that Beretta just released their APX A1, and that's a pistol that I want to get my hands on to do a review for the channel. And it may end up on this list in the future because it's coming in under that $500 mark as well. So great pistol, and more to come on that one. Okay, so I'm going to have 2 honorable mentions, and the first one is going to be the SAR USA Sar9. And this is going to be a really interesting pistol because it is going to have a slide and internals very similar to that of a Glock, but the frame is going to be very similar to that of a VP9 or a HK P30. And that's what a lot of people like about this pistol. That's why it has a lot of appeal, is because the ergonomics are going to be very similar to a HK pistol, but it's going to have the internals and, in theory, the reliability of a Glock, all in the same package. So that is pretty cool. In addition to that, it comes in right around that $250 to $275 mark, depending on when and where you buy it. I picked this up from PSA for $250, and I think as of right now, as of recording and airing this video, they still have them for $250 on PSA. But if they don't, just wait a little bit and they'll pop up. This has ran extremely reliable for a imported Turkey gun. Those usually like the 124 NATO spec ammunition, but I've been able to run 115 grain, no problem. It does have a little bit of weak or erratic ejection with 115 grain, but realistically still have yet to have an issue. So that is one of the reasons why I wanted to include it on this list. Not in the top 5, but just outside. And I would say this would be something I would recommend to anyone who is strapped for cash for whatever reason. Okay, so the number 3 pistol is another pistol that may be floating underneath the radar for a lot of people, and that is going to be the IWI Masada. Now, I would love to put this higher on the list, but there's one kind of drawback that this pistol has as to why it's not higher on the list. But before we talk about that, let's talk about some of the cool things it's got going on. Number 1 is it's going to have a modular trigger pack, very similar to that of a P320, which I thought was really cool. It's also going to be fully ambidextrous, so the slide stop, slide release, slide catch, whatever you want to call it, because ultimately nobody cares, is going to be ambidextrous, and you're going to be able to eject the magazine from either side as well. It's also going to come optics ready, and that's something that is huge for a pistol coming in under $500, is to have something already pre-cut for a red dot. Now, one of the biggest drawbacks to this pistol is the fact that the aftermarket just really hasn't caught up with this pistol as of yet. As mentioned, this does have a modular trigger pack, but as of right now, I don't know of anyone making upgraded, updated frames for this pistol that would take the Masada trigger pack. So that's a little bit of a letdown. In addition to that, sometimes trying to find a really good holster for this, maybe you want to go with like Tier 1 or T-Rex arms. I'm not a big fan of T-Rex arms, but if you want to go with them, you can. Trying to find one for this pistol may not be as easy as you might think. So that's the only real reason why it's not higher on this list, is because of the aftermarket support. So, but outside of that, great pistol, really reliable, and I've had a lot of fun shooting it. So that is number 3. All right, coming in at number 2 is a pistol that I was really interested to get my hands on and check out, and ended up being pleasantly surprised by it, and that's one of the main reasons why it's number 2. That's going to be the ARX Delta, and realistically, we are talking about the ARX Delta M or the ARX Delta X, which is this one, and specifically their Gen 2. Now, this pistol is a very interesting Glock clone, I would say, in the fact that it is everything that you would expect a Glock to be, only they do a little bit better. First and foremost, it's going to have sights set up exactly how I like them from the manufacturer. High-vis front sight, blacked out rear. That's something that really is some brownie points for me whenever I look at a pistol. Comes optics ready as well, and it comes with all the necessary plates and hardware that you need to add whatever optic that you want to put on here. This too, very much like the Masada, is going to be fully ambidextrous, so your slide stop, slide release is on both sides, and you can eject the magazine from either side as well. So that's something I really do like. Trigger on this is going to be very similar to that of a Glock, so nothing to write home about, but it's still, I would say, at least on par with a Glock, which is nice. The other great feature is it has this really nice cut right here, very similar to that of the PSA Dagger, but it's got some texturing. Is really going to help with getting that thumb in on that ledge and kind of pressing down on this pistol to help with recoil mitigation, if I could even say that. Also comes with a 19-round extended magazine and a flush-fitting 17-round magazine for the X version, and the magazines are compatible with the M, X, and L versions. So really, really cool pistol. I haven't had too many issues. I've had a couple stovepipes, but that is only when I added the red dot. So you add some weight to the slide, may need a little bit of a break-in period. But outside of that, really, really great pistol. Now, two major issues that I see with this pistol, which is why it's not number 1. First is, again, aftermarket support is a little challenging. So there's that aspect of it. And then number 2 is this is really oversprung. So you're going to have a break-in period, and I highly suggest running at least 250 rounds of 124 grain through this pistol before switching over to 115. I really haven't had an issue with either one, but had I started with 124 grain, I may have had fewer malfunctions or failure to ejects. Not that I had a lot, I had just a handful, but I feel that a break-in period is necessary with this pistol. And then you're going to need to sit here and work this magazine release to make sure that it is easy to eject, because as you saw earlier, I was kind of struggling to get it to release from the other side. So definitely going to want to break that in on this pistol. Outside of that, it has run very well. Adding the red dot was extremely easy to do, so no problems there. And it's coming in right around that $450 mark, so you get a lot of features with this pistol for under $500, and that's another reason why I like it. Okay, so the second honorable mention is going to be a pistol that a lot of people might be surprised that I'm adding to this list, but realistically, even though I am pretty biased about this pistol and its company, I do feel that this pistol is going to be quite possibly the best version of what they've put out, and that is going to be the Taurus G3C. Now, a couple different reasons why it's not in the top 5. Number 1 is there's a concern with QA/QC from Taurus. And while I personally have not had any issues with the G2C or this pistol personally, I have seen a lot of stuff on the internet forums, a lot of comments that have come in with my videos on the Taurus pistols talking about how they've had issues with it. Chris from Honest Outlaw has had 3 separate Taurus pistols and had to send all 3 of them back for one reason or another. And that's one of the reasons why I put it just outside of the top 5. Otherwise, it would probably come in at number 5 for my recommendations. But the G3C has been a really great and needed update to the PT111 series in the fact that they have changed the iron sights to be Glock compatible, and brownie points here, like I said, high-vis front sight, blacked out rear, exactly how I like it. In addition to that, they have updated the trigger as well. So even though it still has a pretty long take-up, it has a really nice break, and then the reset is really nice as well. So they have really done a great job in updating that trigger opposed to what the G2C or the PT111 used to be. So in addition to that, it is reverse compatible on its magazines to its predecessor and will accept the G3 magazines as well. So magazine compatibility is always a plus. So that's why I have it as an honorable mention. I would recommend it to people. A lot of people think that I hate Taurus. I don't necessarily hate Taurus, but I'm very cautious. Let's put it that way. I'm very cautious with Taurus, but I still would say that it is a viable option for a lot of people who may be strapped for cash. Okay, so let's get into my number 1 pistol, and it's actually more of a series of pistols, but I will talk about one specifically, and that is going to be the Canik TP9 Elite SC, or realistically the TP9 series, especially when it comes to maybe the TP9-1 or the SF Elite, or maybe if you can find like one of the Metes, or man, if you can find a used rival, you might be able to find it under $500 as well. But realistically, the TP9 Elite SC would be the one that I would point to first, because it is highly concealable. It's about the size of a Glock 26. It is reverse compatible on the magazines to not only accept the 12-round magazine that is got the finger ledge for your pinky, but it will also accept the larger capacity magazines from like the SF Elite or larger pistols. So that's something I really do like. Again, brownie points here, high-vis front sight, blacked out rear. That's the way I like to do things, and when I see a pistol set up that way from the manufacturer, it's already going to kind of step up, in my opinion, a little bit. And the Elite SCs are optics ready as well, so that's something I really do like about this pistol. But the real reason why this is number 1 is because of that Walther-esque PPQ style trigger that it's got on here, man. It is nice, man. This thing is so light, and the reset is super short. Here's your break again. It is crisp, light, short reset, man. This trigger, let's be honest, it's a Walther trigger, and that it's got to be the best of all 7 of these pistols. I really, really do like this pistol and would recommend it to anyone. Now, I will say that this is probably kind of on the higher end. You're probably going to find these somewhere around that $400 to $450 mark, but realistically, it is worth every single dollar in my opinion. In addition to that, it comes with a lot of accessories to include a holster straight from the manufacturer. Now, I get it, it's not the best holster, but if you want to pick this up from the store and immediately start to carry it, you can do that while you're waiting for a better holster to come into the mail. So that is the reason why I really like this pistol, and I think that it is a great option. So there you have it. There is my list of the top 5 best pistols under $500. Was your pistols on the list? If not, tell me why I messed it up. I would love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comment section down below. As always, I appreciate you guys swinging by and checking things out. Feel free again to sign up for the Fit and Fire newsletter. Really appreciate the support there. And it's a great way to support the channel as well, because a lot of the links, not all, but a lot of the links are going to be affiliates. So if I have something there that you guys want to jump on and purchase, I usually get a kickback from those. Same time saving you guys some money as well. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thanks again, guys. We'll catch you guys later. As always, freedom through strength. Here comes a high five. Catch you guys later. Bye, y'all.